Imagine pressuring your leader into signing a peace deal, then days later calling him an apostate for signing it. That is exactly what happened during one of the most dramatic moments in early Islamic history, and the group behind it was called the Kharijites. Throughout history, the same text has been read in completely different ways. For example, Federalists and Anti Federalists read the same constitution and reached opposite conclusions. Catholics and Protestants read the same Bible and split an entire civilization. But those were different people disagreeing with each other. The Kharijites did something far stranger. The same people flipped their interpretation completely in a matter of days. Hey everyone, I am Ali, and today we are going to look at exactly how and why that happened. It is the year 657 AD. Ali ibn Abi Talib, the fourth caliph, is marching his army into Syria. His goal is to bring the rebel governor Muawiya back under the authority of the caliphate. The two armies meet at a place called Siffin. After months of skirmishes, Ali's forces are finally gaining the upper hand. Victory looks close. Then Muawiya's generals do something unexpected. They take copies of the Quran and mount them on the tips of their spears. Then they call out, "Let the book of God decide between us." Ali's soldiers freeze. A large faction within his own army turns on him. They demand he stop fighting and accept arbitration immediately. But why? What were they thinking? Their reasoning came from very literal reading of the Quran. Surah Al Hujurat, verse 9, commands believers to make peace between two warring groups of Muslims. To these soldiers, the Quran on those spears was not a military trick. It was a direct sign from God to stop the bloodshed. In their minds, ignoring that sign meant placing Ali's personal authority above God's command. They also carried a very heavy emotional burden. Many of their brothers had already died at Siffin. The idea of an immediate, God sanctioned peace offered relief from that guilt. So they pressured Ali into accepting arbitration, and he did. Now, you might expect that to be the end of the tension. Ali agreed, the fighting stopped, peace talks would begin. But that is not what happened. Almost immediately, the same group that demanded arbitration turned against it. Here is where things gets interesting. Once arbitration was accepted, the process began to take shape. Ali appointed a representative, Muawiyah appointed a representative. Two human beings would now sit down and negotiate the fate of the caliphate. And the moment those men saw that, their interpretation shifted completely. Their new reading was built around Surah Al Ma'idah, verse 44. It reads, "Whoever does not judge by what Allah has revealed is among the disbelievers." Their conclusion was sharp and absolute. God had already settled this matter. Ali was the legitimate caliph. Muawiyah was a rebel. There was nothing left to negotiate. By appointing human arbitrators, Ali had replaced God's judgment with the judgment of men. To them, that was not just a political mistake, that was shirk, associating human authority with exclusive authority of God. They coined a slogan that would define their movement forever: La hukma illallah, no judgment but God's. They went to Ali with a demand: declare the arbitration null and void and return to war. Ali refused. He had signed a treaty. Breaking it was not something he was willing to do. To the Kharijites, that answer was the final proof. Ali had chosen a contract with men over a contract with God. So they left his army. This movement of Khuruj, secession, is where they get their name. Kharijite comes from the Arabic root meaning those who went out. They did not just leave Ali's camp, they eventually turned against both sides of the conflict, viewing everyone who disagreed with them as an apostate. So, what actually happened here? The Kharijites did not change the text. The Quran was the same on the day 1 and day 5. What changed was their priority. First, stopping the killing was the most urgent moral demand they saw in the text. Then, preserving divine sovereignty became the non negotiable principle. Same scripture, same people, completely opposite conclusions. This is one of the earliest and clearest examples of something very human. We often reach a conclusion first, driven by fear, emotion, or circumstance. Then we search the available text for the justification. The Kharijites show us that interpretation is never purely intellectual. It is shaped by the moment you are standing in. And that tension between the text and the context has produced both great knowledge and devastating conflict throughout human history.